Hello, and welcome to another Gundam Battle Operation 2 video, and that is the Agu guy. And we're not going to be talking about the Agu guy. We're going to be talking about the new update they're doing for GBO2, which is we're going to get water on some maps, which is a big fuck yeah, because I love amphibious suits. Now, and this is me dicking around with the Agu guy. This is an old match, if you couldn't tell from that hanger part. Now, from what it seems, I'm not sure if it's going to be a variation, like a map variation, because that would be the third port base variation we got. I'm kind of thinking it's going to be what's it called? Just it's going to stay part of the map. Like, speaking of port base, I'm on port base right now. If you notice, it looks like a dry dock area, which it's not a dry dock because there'd be ships in it. But this whole area here, it's going to be filled with water, which is interesting to think about. Now I'm looking at the pictures, the video. Yeah, it looks like it's covering it all, which is awesome. I mean, and then in the city ruins map, there's going to be water in the trenches. Which I don't know how that's going to be super useful. I barely have any fights in the trenches, but it's good nonetheless. And there's going to be water on the maps. We're going to have Aqua stuff. And better yet, it looks like it's going to affect suits. If we saw the gun cannon fell in the water, and when the gun cannon fell in, it was super slow. And Zegok and ran in there, and looked like the Zegok was faster. And speaking of the Zegok, it shot its particle cannons out of its hands while boosting. Which means that the Zegok might get buffed, which is awesome because the Zegok is like the worst suit in the game right now. But yeah, yeah. I'm seeing some people do some speculation on what what boost the water will give to amphibious suits, but because it's clear that it's working for the amphibious suits, they're not affected by the speed buff. Or speed debuff. So a lot of people are thinking that's going to be a speed buff and maybe a boost gauge buff. You can boost more if you're in the water, which that's what I'm thinking it's going to be too. Something simple like that. Although I have some suggestions on what else it could be to make it like interesting. Because if you see, there's only very few places the water is going to be at. I mean, obviously, port base, it's in the main part of the map. And then it's in the trenches of city ruins, which isn't too much at all. So I'm suspecting it's going to be something significant. And, that could be just the speed buff and the boost gauge buff. But I'm thinking also it might do something with your mega particle cannons, your beam weapons. Now, if you read the GOG's biography, it cools its particle cannons by just being in the water. It's water cooled, which I'm guessing is the same for most of the other amphibious suits too. Because the At guy has it, the Zegok has it, the Zok, Yagu. I'm pretty sure they all have it except for the Zogok, which sorry Zogok. Which hey, it might be better in the water. Who knows? I think it's already decent as it is. So I'm thinking it might lower the overheat for those beam weapons. Maybe better ready up time, which would be very interesting to have. If you're a GOG, you come up out of the water, overheats your big old abdominal belly button mega particle cannons. You can just dip right back in the water, and the overheat will go back down faster. Which should be pretty. That'd be interesting to see. Maybe some strategy can be involved with that. Another thing I'm thinking of, maybe amphibious suits will have automatic like level 1 stealth when entering the water. Of course, that can go away if you start shooting and all that, but something. It can be easy to implement. Like, you're in the water, you have stealth. I mean, you're an amphibious suit, and that works. It could work. Sneak up on people. It would definitely work on a map like this, like Port Base, where the surrounding area of sea is covered in water. It can put in some emphasis on sneaking up behind the enemy, doing some tactics. Uh, Another thing, this one's just off the wall because I don't think this is ever gonna happen. But oh man, what's that ability called? Where if you're in the air, a lot of the higher tier suits have it, higher cost suits, where you can boost in the air. You know, after a jump or if you're falling down. Uh, One of my ideas is that maybe you can do that in the water if you're an amphibious suit, which it's not too useful, you know, because you only have so much wiggle room, especially here in port base. In the trenches, you don't have like any. You know, it'd be kind of a cool thing to have. Maybe force injectors if you're in the water, because they're meant to be in the water. So some suits don't have it, like the Yagu or the GOG. So you know, if you're underwater, you can zip and zoom all around the enemies that are also in the water that aren't amphibious suits. Maybe even give it balancers. I don't know. Just maybe change it, make it significant, so it's worth going in the water as an amphibious suit. You know. I seen some. I think one of my friends suggested that if you're in the water and you're taking damage from beam weapons, that you take less damage, which is not a bad idea either. Can certainly help. Maybe I mean I don't feel like you should take the same amount of damage when you're ballistics wise, because there's nothing that can really stop you from taking less damage when you're in the water. So beam damage, I guess it can make sense because it's underwater. It can defuse some of that particles, I guess. Unless that's not possible, then I don't know. It'd be interesting. Maybe, of course, another one that's pretty simple is maybe just a damage buff to the amphibious suits. But I think it's going to be a speed buff and a boost gauge buff. That just seems like the Occam's razor. It's going to be the obvious thing that I feel like they're going to do, which they can totally add some more stuff to that, being underwater. And I want to say that maybe we can have some other. No, never mind. I was about to say maybe there's some other maps that can have water in it too, but I can't really think of any. I was gonna say Arctic Base, but there's no. You can't have that. No, Arctic Base with water. That'd be like the whole damn map. No, there's nothing else I can think of where you can put water. So I guess just port base and the trenches and city ruins, which I'm fine with. And of course, we have to talk about the new map that was shown off with the At guy, which is interesting because there's a lot of water in that match. It looked like a oasis. It had the palm trees, the sand. It looked like a desert area, and there's just a big chunk of water right next to that area that guy's in. Which, if I had to guess what the map might be, I imagine it's going to be a flatter map, and then the underwater is going to be where you're going to make a bunch of plays. Like if you're standing out in the open, like if you're out in the land, it's way open and you can only have like trees blocking you, so it might be more dangerous to be up above the land and better for you to be in the water, which can make picking amphibious suit a better pick for that kind of map. So I'm kind of thinking, imagine like the reverse. Yeah, kind of like not a reverse, but something like Port Base, where you have seaside in the middle. That's going to be like a big circle of land, and then you have both bases connected to that. But there's hardly any strategic points. There's barely any hills. Maybe a few areas you can hide behind, like a building or two. And then you can have the rest of the area around it just filled with water, and then have it to where the sea point, it's like a hill, so you can come up from the water, which we kind of saw with the At guy there. You're standing in between the land and the water, so that'd be a neat idea. Another one is I'm trying to think of it. I was thinking of like spotty land, like just bits of land put together. Not put together, but separated, and then there's just water filling it up. Which I don't think that'll be it, because if we saw the image for the At guy and the base behind it, it was all connected by one big piece of land. So it makes me think it's going to be that first thing where it's going to be like just 3 points, and they all converge into both the base points converge into the middle point, and it's all surrounded by water. Which hey, that can be pretty cool. Maybe they'll have some little islands there you can step up on. It'd be nice. And yeah, it's gonna be this video. And if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe if you want. I'd really appreciate it. And type up in the comment section what you feel. The comic section, yes, the comment section, what you feel about having water in this game. I'm certainly interested in the idea of it. I don't think they're going to implement too much for it. I like to think they would. I feel like it should be more than just a speed buff and a booster gauge buff, especially given how, acquainted with water some of these suits are. Like, if you look at the GOG above water compared to the GOG below water, like underwater, holy shit, that thing is a demon. It'd be very interesting to play something like the GOG where you're slow as shit, and then as soon as you go in the water, you're just a speed demon. You can just come after people. You can boost super far, super fast, just tear people up. It'd make a port base like a shark-infested waters just all around the port base. It'd be pretty fun, actually. And that might make port base even more of one of my favorite maps. It's already been one of my favorite maps to play. It's so varied sometimes. Like, there's a lot of variables that go into it. A lot of places you can go to that you wouldn't think you go to. Especially like that aircraft carrier in the back. You can go on that, which I don't know if some people know that. And that little dry dock area too. Well, that is the dry dock area, but you can get in there too. You can get on top of the crane. It's a wonderful place to go in. And go and explore where you can be. And, just adding more water, that can add more variables you have to consider when playing that map. It'd make it, interesting. And of course, I'm interested for the new map too, the Oasis map. I'm pretty sure it's not even an oasis. I'm just guessing based on what the land looked like and the water around it. But, if it's like an island map, I'll be fine with that too. Of course, we can get a bunch of amphibious suits out of this too. Like, we can get the Aqua GM, the Ram Zegok, the Aqua Gundams, the Zaku Marine type, the Kapul, which I think that might be for Halloween though. Even something way out there like the Jurek, which if you don't know what the Jurek is, that looks like a fucking gorilla. It's like a mix between a GOG and a gorilla, and it goes pretty apeshit. Trying to think of anything else I want to say. I'm just excited to see what it's going to be, and potentially the buffs for the Zegok. Maybe they can buff the other amphibious suits too. I definitely think some of them need a few little tiny buffs. I think obviously, if you've seen some of my Yagu videos, the Yagu needs maneuver armor. I'm pretty sure it's the only... Actually, yeah, I think it's the only amphibious suit that doesn't have maneuver armor. Trying to think of something. Maybe the Zogok doesn't have it either, but I'd love to see the Zogok maybe get a little bit buff in its range capabilities too. Yeah, man, I think that's the only thing I can think of. I just have to play more amphibious suits again. Maybe come up with another ass video, which you don't know what ass is. I have a playlist for it. It's amphibious suit Saturdays or Sundays, but I might do some more ass now and then because now that we got water coming to our maps. And yeah, with that, I'll see you guys later. Bye.